Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. So today I want to talk about the Indomitus lore. I'm highly looking forward to all this new books coming out, the new Dawn of Fire series and everything like that, but I'm also highly confused as well because we know the end of the Indomitus Crusade. We actually know what happens at the end of it. So let's jump in and let's get talking. So let's all try and get on the same page before we delve into the actual topic, and let's just explain what the Indomitus Crusade is. The Indomitus Crusade is basically Guilliman launching a counter-strike to the actions of the Great Rift. The Great Rift has split the galaxy in twain, Imperial world sectors, half of the bloody galaxy has been cut off from the Imperium. It's Guilliman's big push to try and take back what has been lost. He's leading this huge armada of ships. There's all the new Primaris Marines, the Admeca there, the Custodians are there, the Sisters of Silence are there, the Imperial Guard is there, the Faith is there, the Faith Militant, should I say, is there. They're all with Guilliman as he voyages out and just tries to take back what has been lost for the Imperium and try to combat this new threat of chaos in the galaxy. And this is where Games Workshop and Black Library are launching this new book series called The Dawn of Fire series. They actually spelt Dawn wrong. It should have been spelt D-O-R-N, but you can't always be right, GW. So the first book of the series is called Avenging Sun, and we know it's going to be a multi-book series because it's numbered 1 on the spine of the book, and also it was confirmed through social media that there's going to be more books. So this series is kind of going to be like the Horus Heresy, where it follows like the Crusading, or the Indominus Crusade, through their actions of taking worlds back, combating chaos, Xenos, or what really ever happens. Again, the first one, Avenging Sun, it looks like it follows the Ultramarines. You can see the Ultramarine on the cover, rebooted Guilliman there, looks like a Fleet Master on the cover. Hopefully the other editions of the book will follow more chapters, the Imperial Fist, the Salamanders. Hopefully it's going to be more stuff like the actual Imperial Guard, the Sisters of Battle, Custodians, Sisters of Silence, all the other factions that are attached to this Indominus Crusade. Hopefully those will get featured in their own novels as well. Now, as much as I'm looking forward to this, because I really am, I love a good book series, I love reading about Space Marines purging, I'm probably one of the biggest Space Marine fanboys out there. I'm really confused with what is going on. 9th edition is coming out, and 9th edition is basically going to be set for the Indominus Crusade. It starts off with the Prior Nexus. That's what the big box set is, between the Space Marines and the Necrons and stuff. They're going to have a little battle. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. But I think we have to go back to 8th edition, because what happened with 8th edition is that 8th edition launched with the Great Rift. The Great Rift happened, and they basically skipped the Indominus Crusade. They actually mentioned the Indominus Crusade in 8th edition. It said it lasted 114 years, if I'm not mistaken, and we got the lore at the end of the Indominus Crusade when all the chapters were breaking up, and we actually know that Guilliman succeeded in his plans of the Indominus Crusade. We know that he got to a point where he was happy that the Imperium had been restored in some type of way, where he could break up the Indominus Crusade, start putting the Primaris Marines that he had with him into different chapters, start reinforcing chapters, start making new chapters for the Primaris Marines, and start on a new task for the Imperium. And this is where a book series came in, which got me very excited, and it was by a chap called Guy Haler, and the first book in the series is called Dark Imperium. Now, a little bit of spoiler warning, I am going to talk about Dark Imperium and Plague Wars for the next couple of minutes. So Dark Imperium takes place at the end of the Indominus Crusade. As I mentioned, Guilliman splitting up the fleets. There's like some Marines in there like are not happy to be being broke up for the Indominus Crusade. They've grew bonds with like other people that they've shared with. Some have to go back to a second founding chapters, which they feel a bit because they were like space wolves during like the main crusade, and now like they're making like new successor chapters which they're not happy about. It's really cool. Guilliman has this big pressure on him now, like what is next for the Imperium, what next can they do, and something happened called the Plague Wars. So Dark Imperium features some stuff about breaking up and other people, and the book that follows that is called Plague Wars, and this is about Mortari now bringing the Plague Wars to the realm of Ultramar. He's actually attacking Guilliman to try and do damage to Guilliman and his little mini empire. I thought it was a fantastic book. I've actually done a couple of spoiler reviews on it if you want to check it out on the channel. But after that finished, we were like, okay, what happens then? Because the ending of the Plague War books ends on an absolute banging cliffhanger, in my opinion. Guilliman sends out for a relic or some kind of book that he actually wants to read, and we find out that the book that he eventually gets is the Legio Divitatus. Sorry, I know I'm completely butchering that. And the book ends, well, sorry, the Plague Ward book ends with him opening it and beginning to read that book, which is a massive thing, because if you've read the book, you'll know that there's a kind of twin narrative in there. It's Guilliman and the Faith. And it's the Faith seeing Guilliman as a son of a god and telling him to, embrace your godhood. You are the son of the Emperor. You are divine. And it's Guilliman with his logic saying, I'm not divine. I am just a normal person like you doing the task for the Imperium. And there's a bit of kickback and stuff like that. Like, Guilliman is using the Faith because he sees them as a powerful tool, but he doesn't want to get too close to him because the implications that could bring. Again, a fantastic book series, and we got confirmed off Guy Haler, and we still have confirmation that there's a third book to that series that is still coming out, and well, it's probably going to be out. He actually said over on his Twitter there's going to be some big announcements very, very soon. You actually can't buy the Dark Imperium or Plague Wars books at the moment off Black Library or anything like that. They've took them offline, but the series, because it was supposed to be a trilogy, so the trilogy is going to get the third book. He did confirm that over on his Twitter account. Now, my confusion and problem really with this is the actual Silent King and the Necrons returning in the Indomitus era. And what I mean by that is that, right, the Silent King is coming back. GW has hyped this up. We're actually getting like a book that's going to be following the box set, and that's going to be coming out in July, which will show off like the prior Nexus and the little war between the Space Marines and everything like that that's involved. But with the Silent King coming back and the power and the dynasties that are supposed to be coming to him, the thing that we're getting at the moment is that the Indomitus Crusade is supposed to be fighting this huge threat of Necrons. It's supposed to be taking the Necrons on. The Necrons are supposed to be this big powerhouse again. Like the Silent King coming back is like the Emperor in a way coming back for the Imperium. But we know from the Dark Imperium books and the Plague War books that is set after this series, or should I say the Indomitus Crusade, that there's no mention of the Necrons at all. Sorry, there's no mention of the Silent King. There's no mention of any of that. So what does that mean for the Necrons? Are the Necrons just going to be here for, I don't know, like half of the year fighting, and they just fade away again? Nothing really comes of the Necrons, because the Dark Imperium books show Guilliman more concerned with chaos. And again, there's no mention of Necron stuff at all. And again, that applies not just for Necron stuff, that applies for any kind of other Xenos stuff, really, in the galaxy. Like, we know that there's going to be no massive Orc threat, even though I've been reading about, the Orcs growing in numbers and everything like that. We'll probably do a video about that the other day, because there's some massive things in the latest White Dwarf magazine. And we know, like, nothing big can happen with the Tyranids, the Eldar, the Dark Eldar, all these other races out there. We know that nothing really big happens for it, because we've already got the story that is set after the Indomitus Crusade. I'm not saying that we won't have stories where they will feature and, won't be a problem, but we know at the end of those stories that they won't be that concern. And another thing as well is when it comes to returning Primarchs. Now, again, this is just really for me, it's, just my fandom, but we've always wanted, like, more returning Primarchs and stuff, and a lot of people saying, well, maybe like the Indominus Crusade and stuff, this is where we'll actually get like a Primarch, Fulgrim coming back. Fulgrim's been massively hinted at coming back in the actual Psychic Awakening with the Emperor's Children and stuff like that. But we know he doesn't come back, because again, it's not mentioned in the Dark Imperium book, it's not mentioned in the Plague Wars book at all, because Guilliman mentions like the threat of chaos and what Primarchs are out there and stuff. He actually mentions like Magnus and Mortarion, of course, because Mortarion brings all the Plague Wars, but there's no mention of the other brother Primarchs going back and being a threat actually in the galaxy. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to look at this new Dawn of Fire series. I'm going to look at the Indominus Crusade as like the Horus Heresy. That's what I'm basically going to put it in. We knew the Horus Heresy, what happened in the Horus Heresy. Of course, it's been fleshed out, but we basically knew that like the Emperor was put on the Golden Throne. We knew that Horus was mind blasted, Sanguinius was choked out like a chicken. We knew which Primarchs died, everything like that. So that's really, I'm going to apply myself to this new Dawn of Fire series, where I kind of know the outcome of it, but everything else is just going to be filler now inside of that, where, you know, they explain the actual story to get to that point. Alright, Chaperonios, thank you for coming, thank you for watching as always. I'd love to get your thoughts and feedback on this. What do you think about the new Dawn of Fire series? What do you think about the new Indomitus Crusade? What do you think about, you know, Dark Imperium being where it is, and the Plague Wars being where it is, and the third one coming to that series? Let me know in the comment section, and we can have a nice little talk down there as we always do. Have a great day, see you now, and I'll speak to you very, very soon. Bye bye, and good day.